Hello, saints of the Most High God. Captain Mike of the Voyagers here, and I just want to do a quick short video on disobedience versus obedience with God, and don't miss the day of God's visitation. Now, I've done some videos, if you guys have been following us, on both those subjects, and tonight I just want to touch briefly on the consequences of disobedience to God. Not only how it will affect you as an individual, your walk with Christ, but also how it will affect others in your sphere of influence, no matter how small or great it might be. One of the prime examples is in 1 Samuel chapter 2. Eli was the priest at that time. He had two sons who were very wicked, and the Bible says they weren't even believers, and they were actually sons of Belial, the Bible says, and they did some very wicked things, but Eli did nothing to discipline them, and he just allowed that to continue on, which ultimately led to judgment by God, where thousands of people lost their life to a Philistine battle, and the Ark of the Covenant got stolen. Those two wicked sons died in one day. Eli himself died that day, and one of the wives of one of the sons also died in childbirth that day. It was just a terrible day, and so that disobedience led to a lot of deaths of just those few individuals. Eli could have made a huge difference by disciplining those sons. Things could have been a lot different. Samuel was being raised up in that period, and so it was just a big tragedy. One of the other things is, we know obviously the common story of the disobedience of the king Saul versus David, and we'll come back to that in a second. But I even want to talk about Samuel here, which is pretty sobering. Samuel was an excellent man. He led Israel. They had a lot of victory over the Philistines. They were able to take back some territory during his reign before he got elderly. But when he got elderly, he had two sons, and it was interesting. Those two sons didn't follow after the Lord either. And it must have been, he must have learned some bad examples from Eli where he didn't discipline his sons. I don't know what happened there. Each man is responsible for his own life, so I can't necessarily blame Samuel, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, they say, right? So there's probably some accountability there with Samuel, but the Bible doesn't go into it. So at that point, the people asked for a king. He says, Samuel, you're a good guy, but your sons are not good. Just get us a king like the rest of the people, and we'll be happy. And Samuel said, oh man, you don't want to do that. And the Lord said, give to them what they want, and this is what will happen. He goes through this whole list in Samuel about how the king will take your daughters, charge 10%, cause all kinds of problems. We still see with presidents, leaders, kings everywhere. They still do these same kind of bad behaviors. And so anyhow, but again, even as great as Samuel the prophet was, his lack of discipline for his sons ultimately led to getting a king and all kinds of things, with Saul coming into the kingdom, and Saul turned out to be not very obedient to God, and took David to become an obedient man to God. So remember, your choices and decisions do have consequence for others.